Moving on from that game, we're going Air Force Wyoming, and this one is an absolutely classic Friday CBS Sports Network game, folks. Air Force comes in with the triple option. They're averaging 8.4 yards per rush. They're absolutely demolishing teams on the ground, right? They played Colorado last week. They were a double-digit favorite. They covered. I forgot who they played week 1, but they were a double-digit favorite, and they covered. Let's figure this out right now. Week 1, they played Northern Iowa. They were a massive 14.5 point favorite. They won that game 48-17. They were a 17.5 point favorite against Colorado last week. They won that one 41-10. This week, they're a 16.5 point favorite against a 2-1 Wyoming team who lost to Illinois to start the season, picked up a 3-point win against Tulsa, and last week, I believe it was Northern Colorado, they beat 33-10, but they failed to cover the spread. So while they're 2-1 straight up, they're 1-2 against the spread. I really like Air Force in this game, and I know that's a double-digit spread. That's a large spread on the road, and you might be thinking, well, Wyoming has the highest elevation stadium in all of college football. I think they call it the War. It's 7,000. I had to figure this out. 7,220 feet above sea level. That's the highest point of all college football stadiums in the country. And you might be thinking, that's home field advantage enough. Other opponents will come in, they'll struggle. That should give Wyoming at least a few more points back. And you're right, it should. But this is Air Force. Air Force also has one of the highest stadiums in college football. It's actually number 2 at 6,621 feet. So typically the home field advantage Wyoming's able to run with is completely canceled out in this game. Wyoming's defense isn't that great. It's going up against an Air Force team who runs it down your throat. They average 8.5 yards per play, 8.4 yards per rush. They've only thrown it 6 times this season. And then on the other side, they play extremely disciplined defense. They have 4 turnovers on the season. And Wyoming just won't be able to match pace with Air Force. And that might be a little bit crazy considering Wyoming, throws the football, and typically that means better offensive numbers. But I'm just here to tell you, Wyoming only averages 4.7 yards per play. That's not enough to keep pace with this potent Air Force triple option attack. Air Force averages 45 points per game, folks. Wyoming only averages 26. So if we're just going off of pure points, Air Force covers. And I think we're going off a lot more than that. Our power line does think it's Air Force -9. I'm going to fade the power line. Look, we were all over the power line in the first game of the day, and that led us to some solid stuff, especially yesterday. We were with the power line to give us that 4-1 day. However, today, we're going to fade the power line here when it comes to Air Force Wyoming. I think I know a little bit more than what the data is looking at. I think Air Force has the better team. They're bigger up front. And Air Force -16.5 looks really solid. Both of our game simulators like Wyoming to cover. Our power line likes Wyoming at +16.5, gives it the edge because it thinks the power line's more like -9. But I don't think Wyoming's that good of a program. Wyoming couldn't cover against Northern Colorado. They barely eked out a win against Tulsa. Granted, they were 6.5 point underdogs, so a 3-point win is still pretty solid. But week 1 against Illinois, maybe Illinois is better than we thought they were coming into the season considering what they just did against UVA. But Illinois beat them down 38-6. Just absolute beatdown there. So this is the first real test Wyoming will have since Illinois. I don't think Tulsa's a real test. I think Air Force is a really solid program this year. And because of that, I'm going Air Force -16.5. There's no way Wyoming can slow down this rush attack, this triple option. Give me Air Force all day, every day at -16.5. So that breaks us down for all of our games today. It's a quick Friday, not much going on in the grand scheme of college football, but just a real quick recap of our best bets, folks. Louisville +2.5 against Florida State. I like it. I'm going with the numbers. I think Malik Cunningham and company bounce back. I like Louisville to just win that game outright, but I'll take the points. Louisville +2.5. Air Force -16.5 at Wyoming. Wyoming's home field advantage gets canceled out. Air Force minus 16.5. That potent rushing attack will be able to put up points. They put up, I think, 14 points in the first quarter last week. They're going to, against Colorado, a Pac-12 team. They're going to be able to go into Wyoming, a Mountain West team, take them down, flex their muscle, and win that game by 20-plus points with ease. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to DRF Daily. We'll be back tomorrow at around 11 a.m. First Saturday DRF Daily stream. We're looking forward to it. We're going to break down a full college football slate, give out some best bets. We'll preview 3 different games like we always do. 3 is the magic number, but we'll hand out a few more best bets if we're feeling generous, all right? You guys have a wonderful Friday. Hope you win some money tonight in college football action, MLB action, whatever sport you're betting on. May it be profitable. See ya.